Well, hello everyone. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. I hope you have a wonderful day. We're going to jump right into this thing. You know what to do. If you're joining me on Facebook, jump in those comments, give those hearts, those likes, those thumbs up. Most of all, share this video. Just get it out because we'll really be digging into something tonight. And if you're watching it on YouTube, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. And most of all, make sure you ding, hit that bell. Well, I want to say happy Black Women's Equal Pay Day to all the sisters. I know that's, I won't say that's a good thing, because what that means is Black women as a group, not individuals, as a group, had to work all of 2018 and this far into 2019 to equal what white men have made in income. But we're going to talk about wealth tonight, and wealth is a little bit different from income. Income is what you make through your job. Wealth is what you accumulate over time. Wealth is what's passed down. Wealth is the inheritance. Those things are wealth. So we're talking about wealth tonight, so I want to get that kind of up front so there would be not any confusion about the difference between the two. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. Actually, this came from a story out of Oprah's magazine. I'm not going to talk about Oprah tonight, so you'll be happy about that. Out of the Oprah magazine, it says, if you're a young Black woman in corporate America, you're more likely to be underpaid and stressed. The particular financial anxiety of being young, professional, female, and Black. All right, so we're going to talk about it. It says, and this is a story about a young lady that's in the story. It says, although I was one of the very few Black faces in the crowd, I was pretty sure my polished appearance, my degrees from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and Georgetown Law, so obviously an accomplished woman, and my career as an attorney signified that I was just like everyone else. I dressed the part, I talked the part. With my Narciso Rodriguez perfume, I even smell the part. Now, who out there has heard of Narciso Rodriguez? Narciso Rodriguez, obviously a very very good perfume, I guess. I don't know about those perfumes. Okay, but here is the reality. So we have that false image. We have the way of looking at something, how something looks. But I love it because she's talking about the reality. A mentor had covered the price of admission to both events. I attended UNC on a scholarship that included a stipend for living expenses. To complete my JD, I borrowed $100,000. The designer perfume, which has become my signature scent, was a gift from a friend who works in fashion. Those $250 Stuart Weitzman heels, oh my God, I'd frantically charged them a decade earlier. So these 10-year-old shoes, after a corporate head of diversity pulled me aside at a networking event to warn me my $80 flats would be held against me. And the whole time I was chatting about Montauk, I was fretting about my budget, specifically the $400 I just promised to lend a relative in need. So we're going to keep going. It says, and I am like many Black women that my family wasn't able to launch me financially into the world. So that's what we talk about. That's what happens when you are part of the ADOS community, when you're part of a community that doesn't have wealth. You see the outcroppings. You see what happens when you don't have wealth in your community as a whole. We're not talking about individuals. You'll always have individuals, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about as a whole in your community. So a lot of people out here, they have that appearance, but it's not real. So it says, even though I make six figures, I had a plum job in the Big Apple. I am like many Black women in the sense that my family wasn't able to launch me financially into the world. It's simply not in our experience. No, it's not in our community. It's not in our community to have it. In so many cases, we've had to work harder to get where we are. Once we get here, we have to work harder to stay. That's a lot. There's a lot riding on our success. People are counting on us. And so we live in the unsettling sense that with the slightest tug, our carefully conceived plans for success could instantly unravel. Young lady is 33 years old, so right in kind of that, middle area where you're about to start pumping into the money, to the income. No matter how much I achieve, it never feels like enough. And in many ways, it isn't enough to pay off my student debt, to buy a home, amass the kind of retirement funds I should have by now, Yet in the eyes of my rural North Carolina family, I've achieved the American dream. And so this is what we talk about a lot of times. You will have someone who has a house, who has maybe a modern car, a newer car, maybe even a luxury car, but it's financed many times and you don't see the student debt they have. You don't see them having to try to balance maybe college. This is young, probably a little young for, but planning for college and planning many times for their parents' retirement, because now you're right in the middle. This happens every day in the Black community, not just the Black women, but we're specifically talking about Black women right now. I am Price has heard countless stories like mine from a professional Black woman professional Black women who are exhausted from sprinting just to stay in the middle of the pack. It's like you're running, but you're just to stay in the middle. A policy analyst who spent the past 8 years as head of the Closing the Racial Wealth Gap Initiative at the Insight Center for Community Economic Development in Oakland, Price says, I'm listening and nodding my head because what you're describing, first generation college student, professionally successful, still struggling to keep yourself and your family afloat is so common. It really speaks to the issue of why race, not just class, is so important to understanding financial stability and well-being. And I would even kind of mix that up a little bit. It really speaks to the issue of why race, not class. Now, I won't say, I'll just mark that just out. Race, not class, is so important, because we're going to move on in a minute, and you're going to see that race is the deciding factor of lack of wealth for many of our sisters. Price is now president of the Insight Center, points out that more and more Black women are pursuing college degrees. The most important move we can make to secure a place in the middle class, or so we're told. 26% have earned a bachelor's degree or higher, up from 20% a decade ago. Yet we're running into two major roadblocks, says Price. The first is that it's really hard to build wealth when you don't have it passed down to you. Lack of community wealth, not lack of choices, not buying weaves, not buying Jordans. When you don't have wealth in your community, you can't pass it down. Among college educated Black families, the average amount of inheritance, including cash, homes, and other assets, is under $40,000, including cash, homes, and other assets like cars, is under $40,000, compared with over $150,000 for college-educated white families. According to a 2018 study in the American Journal of Economics and Sociology, about 87% of those Black families receive less than $10,000, as opposed to 59% of white families. Understand the disparity. Understand how, when you hate to lose anybody, obviously, but when you have a family member that's gone, Black families 40,000, white families 150,000, there's the gap. There's the lack of wealth being passed down. Second roadblock, says Price, is that Black women are more likely to find themselves taking care of family members financially. This strips away about 27% of a Black family's wealth, she notes. It also forces some hard accounting. The choice is, what do I do? Do I pay off my student loan, start to save retirement, put away money for my child's education? I can't do all three and take care of parents and siblings. So she just has a full plate just looking at her life. But then you also have family that you have to take care of. And let me say something real quick. I had a discussion with a good friend of mine. She really is a good friend of mine. We're not talking about shiftless family members who don't do anything, who haven't saved, and they're just sucking off the finances of the family. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about family members who may have sacrificed for this person to get here, who've had to put some of their dreams to the side. And not even that they're looking for a payback, but guess what? If your mother, your father, your sisters, your family is destitute and has a need, what are you going to do? Are you going to say, I got mine, I'm good, and just leave them there? So we're not talking about shiftless people who wasted money and wasted opportunities. We're talking about Black community being in poverty. All right, my white professional peers don't really get it. See, white people don't understand. Even liberal white people, it's like, we don't get it. I understand. Why don't y'all just do something? Why are you struggling? What's wrong with you? When I recently mentioned to one of them that I was considering taking a second job as an adjunct professor to pay for my eventual wedding, she chided me for doomsday thinking. It's like, girl, you crazy. Easy for her to say when her parents had come up with $50,000 for her nuptials. Y'all don't understand. Y'all don't understand this level of wealth. Her family came up with $50,000 just for her wedding. Not, just for her wedding. Let me move on. Many of my white classmates have already paid off their student loan if they had any, because a lot of their parents was able to just pay for it and are starting to purchase homes, also with down payments from their family. A white friend from law school recently lamented her inability to find satisfactory New York City apartment in her budget, which was $1 million. She cried because she can't find nothing for $1 million. Oh man, white people problems, I'm telling you. Even white people with more modest means might have parents who could take out a loan for a wedding or help with the down payment on a house, or at least serve as a grantor for an apartment. It's disheartening to know that your family can't. As my friend Maya, a black media professional in Washington, D.C., could tell you, we're super smart and accomplished and have degrees, and yet we're still doggy paddling. She said, sometimes I go on Facebook and look at profiles of white people from my high school, and they're visibly rolling in dough. We're doing good things. It's just the gulf between them and me is so striking. So what's the answer? Well, we know what the answer is. Reparations and making the most of what we do have. We have to do those together. It's not, we have to do those two things together. That is the answer. It's not the question, it's the answer. We have to do those things together. So let's make sure that we are pushing forward for that. That we're moving forward for reparations. And part of what I like to help you do is, if you're struggling, if this kind of sounds familiar to you, get in the comments. Does this sound like anybody that you know? I know a lot of people, a lot of accomplished black women. I can name them right now who are struggling just like this, who did everything right, who went to college, who did all the right things. But one incident in life knocked them out the box. Maybe it was a health challenge. Sometimes it's not always families. Maybe it was a health challenge. Maybe it was a bad decision. Who cares? But that's the price of being ADOS. That's the price of being black, is you don't get to make those, you don't get to have those stumbling blocks. You don't get to make mistakes. See, whites in the white community, by and large, not every one of them, so let's not go there. But overall, I'm talking about overall, you get to make mistakes. And see, wealth provides a cushion for your mistakes. Poverty provides none. Understand that wealth provides a cushion for your mistakes. Poverty provides none. So one of the things I do is I help people keep more from their checks that they're already making. But the key long term, and that's what we have to push for, the ADOS movement pushes for that, is reparations. So also go to ADOS 101 and get some information about the movement and join it. Be part of the difference. Be part of the change. And now you know why we have the situation that we have. And with that being said, fam, I love you. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And make sure you share this video. If this means something to do, you know what to do. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, SeanEHill.com. And also make sure that you hit that bell so you get notices of when I do my videos. Normally it's on Tuesdays. I was a little late this week, but I hope I was worth the wait. With that being said, family, I hope you have a wonderful night. And until our next video, I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.